Right. Hello, everyone. I'm
Hello.
Shanna. I'm with Jill and Tina again. We just finished our discussion group on the Holy Hurt podcast, episodes 5 and 6. That was a beautiful discussion tonight. Episode 5 is a really fantastic review of our feelings and why it's so important to learn how to really feel and process them. And then episode 6 started to dive into the healing process for trauma and what that really looks like. So, Jill and Tina, what's staying with you from these episodes?
What sticks out for me from episode 6 was she discussed relationship and how that in order to have a relationship, there's a welcoming that happens. And so having that relationship with ourselves means welcoming these parts of ourselves that are wounded and distressed and essentially welcoming them in. And so that's always I think a working point for me because I've had a tendency to avoid in recent months. And so I just really appreciated that picture of, I can almost picture myself just welcoming my emotions into myself and making a place for them. So yeah, that one really stuck out for me.
Wow, Jill, I really love that imagery of welcoming our feelings. I think I struggle with avoidance as well. We were talking about that tonight in the group, just like how uncomfortable it can be and maybe even painful to just sit and feel our feelings. But like in the podcast, she talks about this middle space. Like there's the trauma and the hurt that happens. And then eventually we want to get through to the other side and just move forward. But in order to really heal, like in our bodies, even, we have to sit in that middle space of feeling those uncomfortable feelings and just letting our body process what happened. Yeah, I feel like I'm really in that spot right now. It's been messy, ups and downs.
One of the things that I thought of, and yeah, I totally hear you on the messiness and how, sometimes it feels like I'm stuck in one phase and not really moving forward. But um, I think I am, just maybe don't always recognize that there's progress being made even when we're just kind of sitting in the same place. But um, that one quote that someone mentioned on the call too, that familiarity is not safety. And I know sometimes like I honestly feel like, wow, I really miss it. Like I miss the camaraderie, the times we had together and stuff like that. And I know it can I have no desire to go back to it or anything like that, but their familiarity is a pretty powerful emotion, or state of being maybe is more appropriate to describe it. But um, just being able to recognize that, and um, like sometimes just being able to, like when someone calls it out to you, you're like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And then you can recognize it for what it is. So
Our brains like to, and our bodies like to keep doing what we've been doing. Change is hard.
yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this before, but there was a study done with the Amish group and going just back to the familiarity does not always mean safety. And the study had shown that 90% of the Amish people that leave do come back to their community because of that familiarity, despite um, the harm that the community actually um, did to the individual. So it's very
Wow.
interesting how we, and even how that familiarity was really driven into the teachings, right? You can go anywhere in the world and you can
Mm.
find that fellowship and right. And so it's a deep rooted core belief that we developed as a result of being in the church for so long.
Yeah, Jill, I was talking about this a little tonight in the group, but it's been a big thing that I've been processing. This Laura Anderson, when she was interviewed on the episode 5, she talked about how difference can feel like danger, especially in high control religions. Like we're taught that those outside or things very different from us are dangerous, and how that kind of gets wired into our bodies, actually. Like our bodies will react to things that are different from us as danger, even if it's not danger. And conversely, anything that's in or acceptable will react as that's safe, even if it's not safe, because that's how we've been trained.
Yeah,
And
I love
so,
that.
yeah, it's been tricky for me actually. Like I was talking with someone recently and I was saying that like in my mind I'm meeting some new friends and I understand they're safe people. I'm getting to know them, but because there's a lot of differences, there's something in me still that is like giving a little bit of that danger signal.
Yeah, it's
I wonder,
interesting you bring that up because even, attending a different church, for example, and listening to music like drums or a guitar, my goodness, right? Like
Yeah.
how
Hmm.
there's such a visceral impact to your body that, okay, this is not a safe space, but it's
Yeah.
just different. That's all it is. It's
Right.
just different. Yeah, that really resonates with me.
I wonder too if like kind of in part and parcel with the familiarity is loneliness, right? Like um it can be really it is, we all know it's really lonely. And when you have people who are dealing with maybe um family members who like I don't really have close family that has made me feel like I'm like has made me feel that way, but lots have. And I just wonder, like on top of the familiarity, there's this loneliness piece too. And you talk about the Amish and how so many of them go back. Like I think that resonates with me because I went back like years ago, like when I was pretty young, but I did go back, and it kind of scares me sometimes because I'm almost afraid, like, oh my goodness, what if I like I don't feel like I will. And sometimes I feel like a lot of my outspokenness and my advocacy and everything is to like burn as many bridges as I
Mm.
possibly can, just so I can make sure that there is no path of return kind of thing. But I can understand too, like why people do make that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. My husband often expresses his fear of me going back as well. He's very terrified of that because he saw the red flags for many, many years. And
Mm.
there's times where I've like doubted myself and, like, what if,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I
Yeah.
think what keeps me going is that I continually get confirmation that and I think one of the participants share this today, was that there's confirmation that they're on the right path. And I am also getting that. So that's what keeps me going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I really love what we heard about trusting our gut, because like I feel like that's not something that we were ever taught or encouraged to do. If anything, we were discouraged to trust our gut, right? Like we are supposed to trust God and trust the workers and what like various situations. There was always external forces that we could trust. And I know I've mentioned this before, but so often I feel like when I have a decision, I just want to tell everybody, like, what should I do? Get all the feedback before and I'm trying to learn to do exactly what we heard in the call tonight, just to trust myself. Like I am perfectly capable of making decisions. And yeah, maybe sometimes they won't be the best decision, but even that is okay. Like we learn and we move forward, and it's all part of being human.
Yeah. That's right, Tina. Like it's okay, perfectly okay to make mistakes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
how we
okay to
learn.
celebrate our humanity, like
Yes. Yes,
that.
that's something like the more relationships I'm developing with people outside of this church, like I'm just in awe of how they can just lightly accept their mistakes, right? And just brush it off like, oh, that was a dumb thing to do, or oh, I learned this, like so lighthearted, whereas I'm still working on that because for me, like any mistake was huge, like huge, huge, right? So
Yeah.
serious.
But I think that goes back, like I know you and I have a similar history too, like the parentification, the oldest
Yeah.
daughter, all of that kind of stuff too, right? All of that, even like we talk, like in episode 5, she talks about the roles that we played and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and huge amounts of responsibility on us as young children, and that hero child kind of thing that stays
Yeah.
with us for a long time. I actually really wanted to call it to that grounding exercise. Like, I feel like I need to go back and do that again because it's such a, I've never had, like, I've always had, talk to yourself like you would to your best friend or whatever. But the way she did that, like to picture someone you love and you picture them and you picture like the contours of their face and all of that. And then,
Hmm.
and now put yourself in that place. I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, the imagery was very powerful in that closing
It was,
exercise. So
yeah.
that was really good.
It was excellent. Yeah.
For those of you listening in, at the end of every episode of Holy Hurt, she does a grounding meditative exercise. And the one we listened to at the end of the discussion today was at the end of episode 6. So go check that out.
Well, this was a great discussion. Jill, I sure hope you're feeling
Yeah,
better soon.
thank you, everyone, and you guys have a really great week. We'll
And
see you
happy
next time.
Thanksgiving, Shanna.
Sounds
Happy
good.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay,
Thanks for
bye.
joining us, Jill. Yep.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.
bye.